Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jing. Here's a preview of some of our top stories today. Amidst all the drama in the City of Angels over several council members, a new council president has been selected. But people are still upset with the government. We'll hear what they're saying. More information is coming out on an alleged serial killer in Stockton. We'll have details of how officers tracked him down, as well as his criminal history. And authorities in Los Angeles have accused a CEO of an election software company of a massive data breach. While it's not about voter fraud, it is about leaking confidential voter data to an adversarial country. The city of Los Angeles has a new council president. This comes after the previous one stepped down over racist remarks in a leaked recording.
As protesters demonstrated outside City Hall in downtown Los Angeles on Tuesday, city council members held their regular meeting remotely, citing COVID concerns of a fellow member. After more than 3 hours of public comment from residents calling into the meeting, the council finally unanimously voted for Paul Krikorian as the new council president.
And I want you to know that as long as I am given the privilege of serving in this office as your president, the presidency will be a collective enterprise. It'll be a presidency that relies on a leadership team of diverse abilities and diverse experiences and diverse backgrounds and diverse viewpoints.
Council members Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo, who Angelenos have called out to resign, were absent from the meeting.
There should be no voting for council president until De Leon and Cedillo resign. Mitch O'Farrell's interim presidency is illegitimate because his own staff participated in these conversations, including discussing paying off Democratic clubs. This entire meeting is illegitimate. You held Wednesday's meeting in person, knowing that Biden had COVID. So why is this meeting virtual? Because you don't like the national media attention you're receiving?
We got a lot of born-again reformers on this council now. Nuri's no longer standing in the way. It's on you. And I don't like the approach I've had to have over the last 2 years. But it's been necessary because of who's been in council president. She's been nothing like Herb Weston on these issues. I warned Nuri. We either work together to find compromise or we relentlessly shame you into doing better.
De Leon, Cedillo, and former council president Nuri Martinez were involved in a call that took place in October 2021 and centered on the council members' resentment about a proposed redistricting. It came to light only this week, ahead of a city election in November, after it was posted on a Reddit message board and reported by the Los Angeles Times. In the call, they made racist comments about fellow council member Mike Bonin's black son and other ethnic groups.
Details of both the arrest and criminal history of a man who is suspected of being the serial killer in Stockton have recently come to light. That includes the 43-year-old man being first arrested when he was 15.
Wesley Brownlee, a suspected serial killer recently arrested by Stockton police. He is suspected of killing 6 men and wounding a woman in a series of shootings. After receiving hundreds of tips, investigators located and cased the place where Brownlee was living. After observing patterns in his behavior, they determined he was out searching for another victim and arrested him. After Brownlee's arrest, police said he was dressed in black and had a mask around his neck and a handgun. According to authorities, he has a long criminal history which includes traffic violations and convictions for drug crimes. The California Corrections Department said Brownlee was sentenced to 2 years in prison in 1999 for possessing and selling a controlled substance. He was released on parole after serving 7 months. He was again convicted in 2001 and sentenced to prison for the same crime. The East Bay Times reported that court documents show he was first arrested at age 15 in Alameda County for selling crack cocaine.
A self-admitted pedophile who was on trial for kidnapping has died while in custody. It was after he took a 12-year-old girl from her home and was caught midway during the abduction.
41-year-old Nathan Larson, a self-proclaimed pedophilia advocate and accused child kidnapper, has died while under custody in Arizona. On Monday, the Sacramento Bee reported that Larson died September 18th, and an order of dismissal in his case was filed October 11th. The U.S. Attorney's Office had no further details on the death. He was on trial for allegedly grooming a 12-year-old California girl. He was arrested in December 2020 at the Denver International Airport while attempting to take the girl to his home in Catlett, Virginia. According to court records, he planned to sexually assault her and impregnate her when she turned 13. Detectives said Larson met the girl through social media, flew to California, and persuaded her to sneak out of her house. A Denver police officer stopped the pair during a layover in Colorado. The girl was not injured and later was reunited with her family.
A major healthcare provider has agreed to pay for improper billing for a lab test that it did not actually perform. The agreement is part of an effort to fight healthcare fraud.
Sutter Health, a Sacramento-based healthcare services provider, and its affiliate hospitals agreed to pay over $13 million to settle allegations that it violated the False Claims Act. Between August 1, 2016 and June 30, 2017, the company allegedly billed for urine toxicology tests it did not perform. It was paid for the testing by the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program. According to Special Agent in Charge Stephen Ryan, when medical providers charge federal healthcare programs for services that other providers actually performed, the integrity of these programs is undermined. The investigation is part of the government's goals to combat healthcare fraud.
A former San Diego resident has been sentenced to federal prison for financially aiding Americans to fight for ISIS. He was also involved in other crimes to fund the group.
A former San Diego resident who served as, quote, North America facilitator of ISIS foreign fighters was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison on Monday. According to prosecutors, 37-year-old Abdullahi Ahmed Abdullahi funded 6 Americans and Canadians who traveled to Syria to engage in, quote, armed battles to gain control of the territories and civilian populations on behalf of ISIS. Abdullahi wired funds to ISIS members overseas, took part in an armed robbery of a Canadian jewelry store, and recruited others to commit crimes, such as theft, in order to collect funds to support terrorist activities. Abdullahi was arrested by Canadian authorities in 2017 and was extradited to the United States in October 2019.
An election software CEO surrendered to authorities in Los Angeles. That's after prosecutors have alleged his company is responsible for a massive data breach. Los Angeles prosecutors accuse Eugene Yu, the CEO of an election software company, of being involved in a massive data breach. This breach affected at least 1,000 victims, including minors. Yu is the head of Konek, a company that provides software to electoral districts. He was charged with the embezzlement of public funds. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has also accused Yu of stealing the personal information of poll workers. The office alleges that personal data was stored in Chinese servers, a violation of Konek's contract. All data stored in China is, by law, open to access for the Chinese Communist Party. Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Eric Neff alleged in court that, quote, this is probably the largest data breach in United States history. He added that there are likely thousands of victims in just Los Angeles, and the company has contracts all over the country. Yu's lawyer, Janet Levine, rejected the allegations, saying there was no evidence of personally identifiable information being distributed. Superior Court of Los Angeles County Judge Victoria Wilson ruled that Yu be released on a $500,000 bond and remain under house arrest until his next hearing on November 17th. After Yu's arrest in early October, Konek assured its customers that its data is stored in a data center in Lansing, Michigan. Fairfax County in Virginia and the city of Detroit in Michigan say they have severed ties with Konek in light of the arrest. Virginia's Prince William County said they have suspended their use of the Poll Chief software and have erased data from Konek's servers. We're going to take a short break now, but here's a look at all of the great stories we've got ready for you when we come back. Despite California's progressive nature, it's very high on income inequality. That's compared to other states. And it got worse during lockdowns. We'll see what led to that. A woman has now made her hobby of selling designer luxury purses a career. We'll hear how it went from a small side hustle to a profitable full-time job. And a Bay Area city held an Oktoberfest over the weekend. We've got why they chose this event, and we'll see what fun they were having. That and more on California Today. For people who love economics, all you need to say is California has a high Gini coefficient, and that explains a lot about wealth distribution. For the rest of us, it means there is a high income inequality in the state. Here's a look at just how much. According to the OC Register, California ranks 5th in the nation for having the highest level of income inequality. That ranking is an economics term called the Gini coefficient, which was calculated from U.S. Census household income data for this year. But California was already high on the list, sitting at 7th in 2019. The report concluded that it wasn't necessarily the case of the rich getting richer, but the rich not getting poorer. That's because of pandemic lockdowns hitting California's service industry hard, followed by a slow recovery period. Other states saw more significant increases in inequality, like Wyoming and Idaho. This may have been due to people leaving large cities to work remotely. As for the rest of the country, Washington, D.C. is the most unequal for income, followed by New York and Louisiana. In terms of equality, New Hampshire is now the most equal, with Alaska and Utah following. For a few lucky people, following their passion can support them through life. And that's definitely the case for one woman who is now comfortably living off of reselling purses. NTD's Jackie Rios went to hear how what started as a side business is now making it big.
Nika Yusei is the founder and CEO of Fashion Nika, an online vintage designer purse store. She started Fashion Nika just as a side project, but has been so successful in her business that it's now her primary job.
So this was kind of like my COVID baby. I started this business like during COVID, and like truly I was finding these really great bags and you know, they were kind of stored in my closet, and my fiance is like, you have too many bags. Like, why don't you, turn it into a business or something and maybe sell some of them, make a little bit of margin and see what happens.
In January 2021, Yusei spent $15,000 on luxury purses to resell on sites like Poshmark. After 6 months, she created her own website.
I would just slowly trickle in, sell a couple bags like once a week, here and there. And once the demand started picking up on my Instagram and my TikTok accounts, that's when I was like, I should start an actual business, make this into something, because I do see a lot of potential.
Yusei's habit of hunting for the best quality items she could find started in her youth. That's because she grew up with one parent, struggling to make ends meet. So Yusei thrifted a lot growing up, and it carried over into adulthood. Now, she's left her brand manager job at Biology Pizzeria and works on her business full-time.
Okay, Mondays, I have our photo shoots with my photographer. Tuesdays is all e-commerce, so uploading the photos from the day before, and then putting down the descriptions, the prices, any flaws that the bag might have.
She gives her followers a sneak peek at what will be available by going live on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Her customers get excited for Wednesday nights, known as Backdrop Day, on her website.
It's so crazy. I feel like because my followers kind of understand that, this is the schedule. At 7 p.m. they drop, they sell out within minutes. And it is, I literally can't even grasp how that happens, but it's been selling out literally in minutes the past year. So I'm extremely blessed and thankful for my community and my clients that I've built relationships with.
She packages the bags to be sent out on Thursdays, and on Fridays, she brainstorms what to do for the next week. Each bag she selects is also authenticized. Every bag has a certificate of authentication from Entropy, an online authentication website.
So my motto is, if I personally wouldn't wear it myself, then I'm not gonna source it, because at the end of the day, I'm investing and buying this bag, and if it doesn't sell, I have to use it, and I want to like it and I want to love it because I love bags.
Yusei started out by selling $10,000 worth of items every month. Now she sells around $200,000 worth per month, projecting to earn $2.4 million by the end of 2022. She recommends those interested in starting their own side hustle and turning it into a business to be passionate, ambitious, driven, and to be consistent. Jackie Rios, NTD News, California.
Oktoberfest. Most people think of beer when the festival is mentioned. While there was plenty of that, over the weekend I went to hear about some of the tradition too at an annual event in the East Bay. I've just arrived at Oktoberfest being held in Walnut Creek, and all I can say is I'm ready to learn about my German heritage. Guests filled Civic Park on Saturday for steins of beer and a good time. Though Oktoberfest concluded in early October this year, the group Walnut Creek Downtown organized the event over the weekend.
I think we were trying to find a fall-themed event. In Oktoberfest a couple years ago, there weren't many programs going on in an Oktoberfest theme, and so that's why we chose that. Since then, we've had some of our neighboring cities create events, Oktoberfest events around us.
Hemingway's organization supports businesses in the city. One way is by putting on events like this 4th annual Oktoberfest to hopefully attract customers to downtown shops after meeting them at the festival.
We have a kids zone and we have a VIP tent. We have over 50 vendors and beer and wine and specialty foods.
One of those vendors, Sarah Schmidt, was selling a German food, pretzels.
Well, we love Walnut Creek. Everyone here is really friendly. We love to sell pretzels. We like all the sausages and the beer, and the band is really, really nice.
The 26-member band played a range of German songs and tunes, which really set the mood.
I feel excellent. I'm full of pretzels. I'm full of cider. It's been a very good day for me.
Guests wearing traditional clothing, dirndl dress for women and lederhosen for men, accented the traditional feel.
Well, this is a traditional German dirndl. So typically they would be made of a really heavy material or a wool. You can tell this one's homemade by someone's grandmother. It's lined in just a very light linen, but this is a very Bavarian outfit, so it's not the traditional Northern German outfit.
Schmidt shared how the clothing came to be associated with the event. In the 1800s, a crown prince married a princess, and they held a large festival to celebrate the occasion.
And so everyone put on their nicest outfits. And then everyone loved it so much that they're like, we want to do this again every year. Doesn't matter that no one's getting married, let's keep doing it. So everyone would put on their very nicest outfits and then get ready and celebrate what is now more of a harvest and beer festival than anything else.
Others showed their admiration of past European culture decked out in full plate mail.
We're out here just recruiting, letting people know what the sport is. So internationally, it'd be considered historical medieval battles, so HMB. And then locally, there's a few organizations that run it as well.
Braden and Sean are members of Ursa's Fight Club, sparring with full armor and blunted weapons.
The sport's really big in Europe, and so we're trying to grow it in the U.S. as well. And the last few years, and so we've become more and more competitive over there too. So.
As for the rest of the event, there was plenty of fun to be had. Daniel Hall, NTD News, Walnut Creek, California. Now we're going to send it over to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports roundup.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup. Stephen Curry scored 33 points, Andrew Wiggins added 26 and 4, and the Golden State Warriors defeated the Los Angeles Lakers on the reigning champions' ring night celebration. Opening night for both teams was a much anticipated affair, with new Lakers head coach Darvin Ham making his official NBA regular season debut. And through the first half, the Lakers seemed much more competent on the defensive end and were able to find buckets where they could on offense. The Lakers ended the first half down by 7, 52-59. After the break and evidently Warriors head coach Steve Kerr's halftime adjustments, the game became a rout in classic Warriors third quarter fashion. Golden State turned a 7-point lead into a 25-point lead midway through the third quarter, and although the Lakers made a push to close the deficit to 12 in the fourth, the game was long over before the final buzzer sounded. Anthony Davis and LeBron James played well enough on the same floor together for the first time since April 1st, combining for 58 points. However, Lakers not named LeBron, Davis, or Russell Westbrook combined for just 32. By contrast, Warriors players outside of their big three of Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green combined for 68. Warriors 123, Lakers 109. The Sacramento Kings and Los Angeles Clippers will also be tipping off their season this week, with the Kings hosting the Portland Trail Blazers tonight and the Clippers playing the Lakers at Crypto.com Arena on Thursday. Both teams have their eyes set on the postseason in 2023, but have very different goals once they get there. This will be the first time since the 2021 Western Conference semifinals that both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George will be healthy and playing on the same floor. The two's talent, combined with a refreshed roster of veterans and smart role players, could prove to be one of the most versatile teams in the league. Just about everyone on this roster outside of 7-foot center Ivica Zubac can knock down the three-pointer. There are also no glaring defensive weaknesses in any of their top 9 players, and the Clippers have a dearth of talent at the all-important wing position. And they have even more talent than in 2021 with the additions of Norman Powell and John Wall in the backcourt. The trick now for the Clippers is to stay healthy, something that has evaded them ever since Kawhi and Paul George moved to sunny Los Angeles after the 2019 season. Stay on the court, and they could be raising a banner in Clippersdom for the first time in the team's history. The Sacramento Kings enter the 2022-23 season with a much different mission. Just make it into the party. Sacramento has the longest streak of missing the playoffs in the NBA, having missed the postseason 16 straight times dating back to 2007. In the past 5 years, the Kings have built their organization's focus around making it into the postseason, but this season could be their best chance yet. After acquiring Domantas Sabonis in a midseason trade last year, the Kings still just finished out the season 9-16, but new head coach Mike Brown could bring some fresh expertise from the Golden State system, where he spent the last 7 years of his career as an assistant coach. New signees Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter add some much-needed shooting to their rotation, and both players seem comfortable in off-ball roles, playing off excellent passers Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Sacramento also drafted Iowa product Keegan Murray 4th overall, who looks to be an excellent shot maker in his own right after impressing in Summer League and in preseason. The Kings may not have the same firepower as the Clippers, but both of these rosters could join the Lakers and the Warriors in making a push for the playoffs in 2023.
And that's all for sports.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd love for you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email california.today@ntd.com. I'm Daniel Hall, sitting in for Lang Jiang. Have a wonderful evening.